When I was 14, my mom and I camped at a remote alpine lake. People have gone missing near the area where we camped, and they have never been found. The footprints we photographed that day are unexplainable. People get uncomfortable when you start talking about the unknown. There's just so much more out there that we don't know. One of the most well-known missing person cases in the Great Smoky Mountains is about Dennis Martin. He was a 6-year-old boy who was playing hide and seek with other children, and he ran behind some bushes and never came back. Some hikers reported hearing a scream and then seeing a giant hairy creature running up a hill, and it appeared to be carrying something over its shoulder. It just really makes you think, what if some of these missing person cases have a more supernatural element to them? Something unexplainable, where it defies logic, something that we can't even comprehend. Here we are driving deep in the mountains of North Carolina. We're trying to look for a waterfall called Secret Falls. And it clearly is a secret because we're off the beaten path trying to find it. I feel like a Bigfoot's gonna walk in front of the car any second. My mom and I always get ourselves in trouble.
There you come, we go.
It's getting dark and we're far away, so this is not a good idea. As you can see, there's lots of rhododendrons. In the springtime, it's beautiful because they all bloom. Oh, and here's the trailhead.
There are human beings here. What I park?
As you guys know, my mom and I are daredevils. We're always in the mountains. Mom and I have always been drawn to nature. We have spent the past 10 plus years hiking across the country. And there's just something about being immersed in nature, being in the mountains, off the grid, that is appealing to us. My mom and I, well, if you don't know, my mom and I are originally from Seattle, Washington, and we grew up backpacking deep in the Olympic Mountains and the Cascade Mountain Range. And, sorry, I lost my breath. But we absolutely love being in the woods. And because we've spent so much time in the woods, we've noticed some interesting things that I thought I would share with you guys. And I will be doing a live on the footprints that we found in 2013 that didn't look like they were human because they contained a mid-tarsal break, which is extremely rare in humans. And we found about, maybe 100 or so footprints, different shapes and sizes. So clearly it was a family of adults and juveniles, and they all had a mid-tarsal break, which is extremely rare. And we were on the top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere, like rugged area. And we found these in a mud embankment by Lena Lake. So I will be talking about that in another video. So yeah, my mom and I have seen some interesting stuff. Interesting, unexplainable stuff. I've yet to find these unexplainable footprints yet in North Carolina. You know, we just got lucky that one day back in 2013, years ago. Oh God. But who knows, maybe one of these days we'll stumble across those footprints. I've had people on TikTok message me and say that, and send me pictures of footprints that they have found in the woods that don't look human. They share similarities with the photos that I took years ago by Lena Lake. And it just opens up a conversation of, you know, let's say these aren't human footprints that we're finding deep in the woods. What if there are feral people living out in the woods? Or what if it's Bigfoot? You know, what if the Bigfoot myth is actually not a myth and it's a real thing? You know, you just don't know. But we can only imagine. And it's kind of scary, but kind of cool. but scary, but fascinating, because it just defies our logic, you know? How can there be Bigfoots or feral people living in the woods? Like, it doesn't make sense. Maybe it is a thing and we just don't know about it and we're not told, you know? Oh, wow, guys, look at this waterfall. It's beautiful. Something unusual I've noticed about certain missing person cases that happen in these heavily wooded areas is that search dogs will trace the scent of a child and stop at a river or a creek where it's almost impossible for the child to cross. In some of these cases, the children are 2 or 3 years old, and it's actually impossible for them to cross a river that has rapids. In some of these cases, the children are found on ridge lines, on the top of cliffs, in high elevation with treacherous terrain. And it's impossible for them to have gotten there willingly by themselves. In many missing person cases that involve children who go missing in or around these heavily wooded areas, the parents are not involved. So in these instances where the parents are actually innocent and their child really did disappear almost off the face of the planet, the big question is, what really happened?